From Sicily to the New World, the old roots of an American underworld, 1860-1910. Imagine the year is 1900. New York Harbor is a forest of masts, steam, and noise. Ellis Island processes thousands of new arrivals every day, people fleeing poverty, war, and persecution. Entire families from Italy, Ireland, Poland, Greece, and the Middle East. They come with one dream, a new beginning. But hidden within this massive human wave are men carrying something else entirely. Not weapons, not contraband, but a system, a code born in the hill-sand villages of Sicily. This is the beginning of the American Mafia. But our story doesn't start in New York. It starts across the sea, in a rugged land where distrust of authority and the laws of survival shaped a culture that would eventually transform America's criminal underworld. Today, in episode 1, we explore the old world roots of the Mafia and follow its earliest steps into the United States. To understand the American Mafia, we must travel back to Sicily in the mid-19th century. Sicily was not merely a place. It was a world with its own rules, ancient, bitter, and endlessly complicated. For centuries, Sicily had been conquered again and again. Greeks, Romans, Arabs, Normans, Spaniards, each left scars, each brought new rulers, each demanded taxes, labor, obedience. Sicilians learned not to trust outsiders, not to trust government, not to rely on the state for protection. When Italy became a unified nation in 1861, Sicily was suddenly swept into a new political structure. But little changed for ordinary people. Large estates, called latifondi, were controlled by absentee landlords. These landlords hired campieri, armed guards, often criminals themselves, who protected property, collected debts, and settled disputes. The campieri were the early prototypes of the mafia. They exercised force where the state was weak or corrupt. 3 principles defined Sicilian underworld behavior. Omertà, never speak to authorities. Onore, honor above all. Vendetta, vengeance as justice. These codes were not merely criminal philosophy. They were survival strategies in a land where police were distrusted and justice was inconsistent. By the late 1800s, small groups of men began controlling lemon groves, olive production, citrus exports, land leases, local elections, smuggling routes. This was the true birth of Cosa Nostra. Between 1880 and 1920, over 4 million Italians emigrated to the United States, the largest wave of Italian migration in history. Why they left? Southern Italy was trapped in extreme poverty. High taxes, political corruption, banditry, limited land and opportunities. Many families faced starvation. The only path forward was a ticket to America. Most immigrants came from Sicily, Calabria, Campania, Naples. They boarded steamships in Palermo, Naples, and Messina. The voyage was miserable weeks in overcrowded cabins. Poor air, disease spreading easily. But on the horizon was the Statue of Liberty, and beyond it, possibility. In America, Italians settled in dense urban neighborhoods. Mulberry Street, New York, South Philadelphia, Chicago's near West Side, Boston's North End, New Orleans' French Quarter. These communities were strong but isolated. Most spoke little English, worked tough labor jobs, and were often exploited by employers and landlords. This environment provided a perfect breeding ground for the early mafia to grow. Where the government was absent, the criminals stepped in. The first Sicilian criminals in America were not part of one unified organization. They were small groups who replicated old world tactics: intimidation, protection, rackets, extortion, smuggling, violence. But by the end of the 1880s, some early mafia figures had already begun making headlines. Surprisingly, the first confirmed mafia presence in America was not in New York, but New Orleans. The city had a large Sicilian community, and the docks were crucial for lemon imports, business controlled by Sicilian groups. Tensions grew between rival Sicilian factions, the Matranga family and the Provenzano family. Fights, threats, and murders followed. On the night of October 15, 1890, New Orleans Police Chief David Hennessy was ambushed and shot. Before he died, he reportedly whispered, "Dago's Italians did it." 13 Sicilian men were arrested. But after a controversial trial, many were acquitted. On March 14, 1891, a mob of nearly 10,000 citizens stormed the jail. They dragged out 11 Italians and lynched them. It became the largest lynching in U.S. history. It also put the word mafia into national headlines for the first time. While Sicilian mafia groups existed, the early criminal phenomenon that terrified immigrant communities was something different. The Black Hand. Not a single gang, not an organization, but a method. Criminals sent letters decorated with drawings of a black hand, daggers, pistols, culls, coffins. The message was simple: pay or die. Between 1900 and 1910, Black Hand extortion spread through New York, Chicago, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, St. Louis, San Francisco. Italian immigrants often became victims because they were afraid to go to the police. The NYPD created a special unit, the Italian Squad, led by Detective Joseph Petrosino. Petrosino spoke Italian and Sicilian dialects, understood immigrant culture, infiltrated criminal groups, arrested dozens of extortionists. He became a legend. In 1909, Petrosino traveled to Sicily to gather evidence on Italian criminals entering America. But on the night of March 12, 1909, he was shot dead in Palermo. The killing shocked the United States. Many believe the Sicilian Mafia itself ordered the hit. Petrosino became the first and only NYPD officer killed on foreign soil. His death symbolized the growing cross-Atlantic power of mafia networks. By 1910, America's underworld was still fragmented. Small Sicilian, Calabrian, and Neapolitan groups existed, but no national structure. But the seeds were planted. Men like Giuseppe Morello, the clutch hand in East Harlem, Ignazio Lupo, a ruthless extortionist, the Matranga family in New Orleans, Chicago's early Sicilian groups were already laying down the foundations for an empire that did not yet know it was an empire. The real transformation would come with a single nationwide event: Prohibition. The moment alcohol became illegal, the underworld turned into the most profitable business in the country.